I'm trying to be cool with my jean jacket. Let me know in the comments if it worked. Hey guys, welcome to today's video. I'm Ashley, and I promise there is a reason that I don't have any color on my lips yet. Bear with me. So back in August, I was perusing the Sephora app late at night, as I often do, and I saw that there was a Charlotte Tilbury collection marked new, and I was like, wait a minute. How did I not know about this? Because I am a Charlotte Tilbury fangirl. So the collection is the Walk of No Shame collection. I got this back at the end of August and I used it a ton in September, but I didn't really speak about it in my favorites because I wanted to do a standalone video to show you guys because listen, we all know I love Charlotte Tilbury, so spoiler alert, I really like this collection. And today I want to show you guys how I use it because I think it's just, the key word I use with all of her makeup is flattering. She is so good at finding shades that are flattering for a large group of people. Much to that point, this collection came from a lipstick, much like Pillow Talk. That whole collection came from the Pillow Talk lipstick. This whole collection comes from the Walk of No Shame lipstick. Now, this lipstick apparently was the best-selling lipstick in the UK last year, because I think, in large part, it was the wedding day lipstick for Amal Clooney, Sabrina Alba, and Miranda Kerr, which just, again, shows you that so many of Charlotte's products really are flattering for people across the spectrum of shades and skin tones and undertones. She's a genius. But you already knew that, or maybe you didn't. Maybe that's just me. So this collection features the original lipstick as well as a shiny version. So 2 lipsticks, 2 different lip gloss formulas, a lip liner, as well as an eyeshadow quad, an eyeliner. It also features a jewel pot, which is something that I was unfamiliar with. I have not tried one of these before. And today I'm going to show you how I like to use the items in this collection. I think this collection was really perfectly timed for fall because it's definitely those berry tones that I think some of us really like to get into in the fall and then even carry over into the winter. All right, I have rambled enough about Charlotte Tilbury. Let's do the rest of my makeup. I have on my base, I've contoured, bronzed, put on, my foundation, everything like that. So let's get into it. All right, so we're gonna start with eyes. This is the quad. I have really been enjoying this. Like I said, this is something that I reached for a good bit in September as like my go-to quad, but I just didn't want to mention it in my favorites because I felt like this collection deserved its own video. I've already put some concealer on my lids and now I'm just putting a little bit of the Airbrush Flawless powder on my lids because I like to put a powder down first, like just a translucent powder. I feel like everything blends more easily when I do that step first. So that's how I like to prime my lids pretty much daily. So I like to take just a big fluffy brush. This is like, I can't even say the name because I don't buy from this brand, but a big tapered blending brush. And I first go into the prime shade and I put that all over the lids. I go from lash line all the way up to brow bone. I think it's just a nice light, like kind of like satin, barely shimmer shade. I feel like it's more of like a pearl. And I like the way that that looks kind of up here, especially once the look is done. It gives me a little bit of a brow highlight, like a brow bone highlight, without being too much. I then go in with a regular like crease blending brush. This one is an E25 from Sigma, and I take the Enhance shade. I put this in my crease. I just start here on the outer part of my crease, and I keep it like, for my eye, I keep it basically right above the actual like crease, just because I have a pretty deep crease. So I like to go a little bit above just to kind of keep my eye more open. So then I take a more dense blending brush. This is actually the eye blender from Charlotte Tilbury. I like this for deepening my crease just because it's still blendy, but the bristles are closer together and it has kind of, you'll see, it's just a more pointed shape. That way I feel like I'm covering less area and I can kind of deepen the crease without blowing it out too much. So I use this and I take the shade Smoke, which is this one right here. So I go in basically right where I started with the last shade. I'm not gonna smoke it out as much because I just wanted to add some depth to my crease. I absolutely love this shade. I feel like the berry tones are so beautiful. And I love that when I started using this, I could really tell that it looked like all the adverts I had seen. And I really like that. When I feel like I can get whatever look they're advertising, that makes me happy. Something about seeing an advertisement and then you can't get that look with the product is so frustrating. So I really appreciate that I felt like this looked in person the same way that it looked in the pictures that they were using to advertise it. So I then take the first blending brush I used and I just go back over everything to make sure that there's no kind of like harsh lines. You know the deal, you just blend, 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 and eventually everything starts to look nice enough. So on the lid, I then like to go in with the Eyes to Mesmerize in Jean. This is like a nice champagne color. I just take it on a flat eyeshadow brush and pack it on the lid. I find that powder shadows, at least the Charlotte Tilbury ones, tend to go really nicely over this cream shadow. That's obviously not the case with every cream shadow, so I really appreciate that about this cream shadow, that I can kind of use it a little bit as a base. I can put it on top of powder shadow like I'm doing right now and use it under powder shadow. It doesn't bunch up, it doesn't pill up, it doesn't pull up the product, it lays really nicely, which again, just doesn't always happen. So that's a big plus of these Eyes to Mesmerize shades. So next I like to go in with the Jewel Pot in Walk of No Shame. I take the same flat shader brush, dip into this, and then go again all over the lid, just right on top of where I put down that cream shadow. I just find this gives me like the most dimensional, kind of just beautiful lid. I really love this combination. The Jewel Pot is like a pressed pigment. It's very creamy. It's not a cream, but it is very creamy. And you can tell that it's a very soft pigment that's just been pressed really well because the way it goes on is so light reflective. I just absolutely love it. Then to finish, I just take a little bit of the Pop shade on my pinky and I press it right on the ball of the eye just to brighten everything up a little bit. That is my last step for the upper lid, and we're gonna move on to liner and smoking out the lower lid. So next up, we're gonna go in with the Walk of No Shame liner. Now this is a nice berry tone, and I've spoken before about the Pillow Talk eyeliner, which is another berry. But what I found with this liner is that it's berry, but it tends to lean more towards like a berry brown. It definitely is less of like a true berry than it is, you know how they have like brown black? It's kind of like that, but for berry brown. It's just a nice mix that kind of lends more to like the earthy side of berry rather than being like berry in your face. Does that make sense? I hope it does. So I'm gonna use this to line my lower and top waterline. I'm also gonna take an angled liner brush and just take a little bit of that on there and put this right along the lash line. I'm gonna stay pretty close to the lash line. I'm not gonna try to wing it or anything like that. I just wanna keep it really close to my lash line. All right, now to finish up, I'm gonna take a little bit of the smoke shade on like a very firm smudgy brush. This is from Sigma. I mean, this is just such a thin smudgy brush. This is their E21. And I'm gonna smudge along the lower lash line. So for this one, I just take it right from the corner to about where my pupil starts. So probably like the outer third is where I deposit color. And then I take a clean pencil brush and blend it just about 2/3 in. To finish up the eyes, I'm just gonna take a little bit of the prime shade and I put it on the inner corner just to brighten everything up a little bit. All right, I threw a little bit of mascara on my lower lashes and now we're gonna move on to cheeks. So this is the Cheek to Chic powder blush in Walk of No Shame. I just take my favorite blush brush. This is the one I use like every day from IT Cosmetics. Swirl it around, tap it off, and do my blush the way I tend to do it. So this is a Berry Rose blush. And again, I've said it before in other videos, I really love having all the things that work together and are in the same tone. I just think it's so flattering when it's the right tone for you. I don't know that this tone would work for everyone, but if this is a flattering shade for you, this kind of like berry rose tone, I think you'll really enjoy this. And I am gonna put just like a touch on my nose to pull it all together. It looks so funny to me without lipstick. So this is actually the first Charlotte Tilbury powder blush that I have ever owned. Before now, the only blush that I have tried from her was her cream blush. So I didn't know what to expect. I don't always go for powder blushes. I would say that I use creams probably 75% of the time for my blush. But I really like this formula because it still has a nice glow to it, even though it is a powder blush. I have to go so slow because I am always like brush, blush. I always say the wrong one. So I mix the two shades in here together and do it all over. The way that she actually tells you to do it, Charlotte that is put this part all over the cheek and then this on the apple. I like to just go back in with like my favorite highlight brush and use this middle part as my highlighter when I use this collection, and I think it's just so beautiful. It keeps everything again in that same tone family, and I absolutely love that. So that's what I do. So this is the Walk of No Shame Lip Cheat. So I actually cheat a little bit. I use this one as well as the Pillow Talk one. I like to use both of them. So I first take this one and I go on the outer part of my lips. I will show you. I go very lightly. I'm not trying to get like a harsh line. I use kind of the edge of the pencil, like I tilt it and use the edge, and I try to get like a very light shade, like shadow around my lip line. Here at the top, I do a little X. So once that is done, I go in with the Pillow Talk and fill in the middle. So in this collection, there are actually two lipsticks. There is the original Matte Revolution, and then she also has the Lip Slick, which is like a glossy version. I really like this lip slick version, so if I'm gonna not use a gloss, I go in with this one. But today I'm gonna show you one of the glosses. There are two in this collection. I wanna show you at least one on, so I'm gonna use the Matte Revolution formula. Now, when I first got this collection, I went straight in and it was too much for me. It was like, wasn't a fan. So what I do now is actually use a lip brush. And this is just one I picked up from Sephora recently because it had been so long since I had used a lip brush. I used to use lip brushes all the time and I hadn't used one in forever. I couldn't find one. So I picked a new one up and I really like the way that this looks on with a brush because it's just a lighter coverage and I think it looks fresher. It doesn't look as dramatic and I really like that for day to day. So if you want a matte lip, you could stop here. I don't tend to go for matte lips very often anymore, so I am gonna go in with one of the glosses. Now there are two gloss formulas in this collection. One is the Collagen Lip Bath, which I have owned this kind before, and then the other is the Jewel Lips, which is a formula I have not used before from Charlotte Tilbury. So I feel like since I have used the Collagen Lip Bath on my channel before, I do wanna show you the Jewel Lips. It's just a more like dimensional, I think, what's the word I'm looking for? Light reflective. It's a more light reflective formula. You can see there's just like some shimmers in there. So that's what I'm gonna use today. And I'm gonna use it sparingly though. I'm not gonna go like too overboard here. All right, now we are all finished. This is the look that I have been really enjoying with this collection. I have worn this exact like face of makeup, I would say 6 times in the last month. I really have enjoyed this collection. I think it's so flattering, so lovely, and this definitely feels like fall makeup to me, but also because it's very toned, I feel like if I wanted to like be a little bit heavier handed with some of the deeper tones like in the quad and deepening up the lip a little bit, I could do so once we get into holiday, and I think that would also be really lovely. So I feel like this is something I'll be using here in fall as well as into the holiday season. If you were wanting to pick up a few products but not wanting to pick up everything, I would say for me, I feel like the best products in here would definitely be the quad, and then for the lips, I think you could get away with doing the lip liner as well as the lip slick. I didn't use the lip slick today, but with the lip liner and the lip slick, you could still get like a nice kind of semi-glossy lip without having to use the liner, the lipstick, and a gloss, so it could kind of cut down one product, if that makes sense. I really like the Jewel Pot. I found that this was such a nice formula. I love how light reflective it is, but I don't think you have to have it. You could definitely get away with just, you know, using Fix Plus or a setting spray on your brush when you dip into this pop shade, and you would get a similar effect. Alright guys, that is it for this video. I thank you so much for spending a little bit of time with me today, and I hope to see you in my next video. Until then, you take care of yourself. Bye.